what we need to embed in our thinking when we're thinking. Are we, with our current business model, able to get people up and running as soon as possible once an adverse event has happened, be it NatCat or a pandemic?
Well, hello, a new year and a new theme tune. Hope you like that one. Matthew Grant here, host of the instech.London podcast and partner at instech.London. Now, one of the great benefits of what we're doing here at instech.London is getting to talk to people from both the relatively new companies that are bringing innovation into insurance and those in senior position in the more established companies tasked with driving innovation from within. Well, it could be an interesting topic to debate for 2021, which is easier, starting a company from scratch or changing one that is already an industry leader. And this week, we're talking to Parul Kaul-Green, recently appointed to the role of Chief of Staff, Asia and Europe for AXA XL, and who for the last 2 years was head of AXA Next Lab for Europe. We're going to be hearing about how Parul ended up working in insurance and what's happening at AXA XL, which is, by the way, one of the largest insurance organizations in the world. We're going to find out how the company is focusing more on the needs of customer and the work that Parul is doing to mentor others, and finally, some of her own techniques for staying sane in an ever-on world. And I get a break from interviewing this week. Robin Merttens, the other half of instech.London, was in the hot seat for this one.
Well, welcome everybody to this week's instech.London podcast. My guest today is Parul Kaul-Green, who's a terribly well-known figure in the insurance innovation world. Parul, welcome to instech.London podcast. Thank you for agreeing to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Parul, we always work on the basis that nobody chooses to have a career in the insurance industry. And I see that you started off in asset management. Did you sort of do a set of exams and say financial services for me?
No, not really. Ever since I was a child, I wanted to be a filmmaker, be a creative person, make movies with songs and dance and improbable plot lines. So I do question my life choices. How did I end up here?
Well, I think you would have been great at it. You could certainly have a role as part of the events team here at instech.London if you went down that road. Don't give up those thoughts. So financial services, did somebody come knocking and you found it completely overwhelming opportunity?
Actually, it was, I finished my business school and, lots of banks do milk rounds. So I got into Citigroup in the Global Executive Management Associate program. And it seemed quite an attractive career path because they set you up in various departments. So that's how I got into banking and financial services.
And then Aviva, so you had a business development strategy roles there, and then I see that you ended up in the strategy innovation teams. So you went from banking to insurance at that point. Was it Aviva that took your fancy, or the nature of the role, or what?
I did 5 years in private equity and also co-founded a startup. This was me, arrogant 20-year-old, thinking that I could really create a tech giant in mobile wallets. That didn't work out. And that was in Germany and in London. The VC that funded that, when it didn't work out, said, look, you have financial services background. Why don't you join us? Did that, invested in all very interesting areas, then moved to corporate development strategy role in Aviva Investors, which is the asset management. So it wasn't directly to Aviva. It was VC, startup, asset management, and then insurance.
So having done a startup, that's what makes you one of us in the sense that I've always seen you as a sort of natural innovator with some empathy for what it's like. And that's what led you to AXA Next, which is AXA's retail and consumer innovation lab. What do they do? You better tell us what they do and what was that like?
So AXA Next is AXA Group's innovation business unit, and it took its current form in 2018. And since then, it has built and nurtured an ecosystem of startups and technology projects within the company. And what they're trying to deliver is AXA's transformation by delivering new products and services to improve the experience and relationships with customers and the partners of AXA. So that's the whole ethos. It is not insurance, but it is to accelerate transformation of insurance as we see it now to what is more future ready and also more customer centric, which is where the pair to partner thesis of the group comes in.
And then very recently, you've moved into the commercial arm. So you're now Chief of Staff at AXA XL, Chief of Staff for Europe and Asia. Did you want to go into the commercial side? Did you see it's an opportunity? What was the thinking behind that?
It was an opportunity. So what I realized working within group innovation is sometimes we miss the nuance of actually running a book live while we are transforming a business. The context becomes a bit obscured, which is why when the current financial crisis started, there was an opportunity to look at innovation within business as trying to solve this immediate problem of lockdown-led distress. And AXA XL, which is the company that AXA bought 3 years ago, now was a very right candidate for looking for how we could really transform the business using innovation, using thinking from rest of the group and also other parts of the financial ecosystem. So, which was why I thought this might be a very influential way of making an impact in this business.
So presumably there's things you learned from the consumer retail side of things that could be adopted in the commercial side of things. It always seems to me that motor and household inform a lot of the thinking that comes later to transpire in SME and ultimately larger commercial business. Are you taking some learnings from the AXA Next Lab job into this one?
Yes, absolutely. So one of the things that retail is very good at is managing relationship at mass scale, which means that they don't even pretend to be able to do it through human beings only, which is why the businesses find it very easy, much easier to have data-led insights, to also input alternative data sets into their pricing models, because there is no way you can reach out to mass market using just a human interface. So you need to go omnichannel. This is something which is emerging in commercial insurance, but quite slowly because it's still very human-led. But there are people today with the lockdown are realizing the shortcomings of such a model. It's not taking away the human impact, but augmenting human impact by using technology. Also making our customers, or in this case, companies and brokers, more able to conveniently interact with us. So that is something that is a big difference between commercial and retail, which commercial could definitely learn a lot from.
Parul, so you're in the new role, you bring this new expertise. What do you think is coming the way of the insurance industry in 2021? What are the assumptions that you're working to in fulfilling your role?
First and foremost, there is a huge emphasis on digitalization of workflow solutions. And that has accelerated in all industries, including the industries which have been slow to adopt technologies like insurance and legal industry, both impacting commercial lines. And then I see secular technology themes that have benefited through this period of lockdown, accelerating disruption through contactless payments, increased use of workplace collaboration tool, automation through the value chain. So that's different. And being able to digitally connect employees and customer has now been fast-tracked to the point of no return. Everybody's looking at public cloud solutions. Everybody's looking at e-commerce very seriously as the dominant way of doing business. So those are the three themes that I think are becoming more and more strong in our industry.
Yes, clearly much to do. But if you could just pick one thing What's the thing that the insurance industry or the commercial insurance industry needs to do to make itself fundamentally better? There's lots to address, but if you could pick one thing, what would it be?
I think there is a really strong need within our industry to align with our purpose. Today, when you speak to some commercial insurance people, they say we are underwriting led. Our business is to underwrite risk well. And I want to bring it back to your purpose is to be customer led by the need to provide safety net for our clients, the corporations, big or small, so that they can continue to manufacture, service, build, and trade even after an adverse event. And that is your purpose, rather than I want to underwrite well. To what end? You want your customers to have this safety net so that they can continue to do business. And that's our purpose. If we realign with that, I think a lot of our thinking would be more focused and we would be able to do much better for our customers as well.
Do you think it takes us more towards, risk partnership? Because there are lots of ways to ensure that our businesses are not interrupted and they can continuous ability to access their factories or their trains but it takes more than just paying losses, doesn't it? I mean, are we going now towards, sitting on the shoulder of our customers rather than being there in adversity?
I do agree with that, Robin. I think we have to move away from just the provision of financial indemnity. We need to move towards partnering better with our customers. There in cyber risk, it could be telling them solutions to build cyber resilience of the company. It could be how can we make them more resilient to climate changes, what protections can be put in place. Also, it could be nudging them to better behavior so that we are not adversely impacting climate so much by introducing ESG factors into how we write financial indemnity and also training them on adaptation skills to prevent such events occurring. So there is a lot of work which we could do in anticipation and prevention, which we currently don't do with a very thought through strategy.
You also do lots of things outside insurance. So you're very active in the mentoring space. You do a lot for the Lord Mayor's International Business Programme, Pitch and Palace. Why? I mean, you're busy enough anyway. What's your motivation for setting aside time to mentor in the way that you do?
I've always aspired not to be defined by my job. And that aspiration is driven from the desire to be a better human being, to make things better than I find them. And if I'm able to make someone else have a better day, a better business, that's always been a key driver for me, which is why I mentor a lot of startups to give young entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, those from non-traditional backgrounds, a view of my experience of being a strategist, investor, also having worked in and co-founded a startup. How can you traverse some of the difficulties that you face? I don't have all the answers and I don't pretend to have some, but I can listen and also add some useful perspective, which is what drives me.
Do you really enjoy it? Because I don't do as much of it as you do, but that what I do, I really enjoy it because I find it incredibly uplifting.
A lot of people say human beings are selfish, but that is not right. Human beings and all animals, amongst all animals, are social animals. We are driven by the fact of altruism, of how we can, within communities, do better. So I think that clear recognition that this is how we can be better human beings really makes me feel that I should be doing more than just going to work and doing exactly as I told and not thinking through on a broader picture, how can I make this better for a lot of people, not just few within my organization.
Oh, I hope you don't do what you're told. You don't strike me as being somebody who always does what they're told.
Matthew here again, just breaking into the discussion to remind you that if you don't know about us already or really want to learn a bit more about what we're up to at Instech London, then you can find out what we're up to at www.instech.london. www.instech.london. There you can see how we can help you share your stories, get advice, and meet your partners. Now, back to Robin and Parul.
Talk about making the world better. You're also a big player in gender diversity in insurance, and you're always listed in the kind of, top the lists of the most influential women in insurance. I get an impression that there's a lot going on in this space, and that it is a really acknowledged as an issue that the insurance industry has to face down, and there are now events for female founders only. Are you happy with that? Do you think that the industry is doing enough?
I do think it's doing good, but I don't think it's doing enough. And the reason I say so is, when I look at the broader population of any of the countries that we are in, and when we see the composition of our leadership, there is such a big delta. And we know for a fact that the world is becoming more and more unequal. If we keep setting very small incremental targets, like we'll have 20% women in board in next 10 years, we will never get there. We will exacerbate inequality, make world even worse than it currently finds itself to be. So I think we need moral courage to do more and do better, which is a passion of mine, that we could do. Don't set yourself easy targets. That is not the way to growth. Set yourself targets which are aspirational and which will make a difference. That is one of my pet passions, if we can say.
Good for you. And you and I have sat on the occasional panel about this, because it's a pet passion of ours at instech.London, in the sense that if you want to be innovative and you want to encourage innovation, then you need a diverse and creative workforce to enable you to do that. I mean, what would be the things that would be easiest for insurance employers to do that they're not doing? Is there low-hanging fruit that's not being attended to, do you think?
One is to not wait for regulations to come in place to do the right thing. So, for example, through underwriting, when we introduce ESG factors and tell people to do better in terms of how the governance works, we should also look at ourselves and see, are we creating representative leaderships? Are we making sure that we have, through actions, through targets, a way to make our thinking more diverse, make us more progressive, make us more innovative, make us more representative and equal? That thinking is missing. I think we keep relying on governments to force us into a position rather than do it on our own. So that delta we just do need to manage much more vigorously than we do today.
Yes, I think there's always a sense that we react rather than kind of take preemptive action to make sure that we're ahead. But look, I don't want to sound too negative about the insurance, because I feel at heart you're an optimist like me, and we've been a little bit critical of the insurance industry. I guess you're in it because you enjoy it. Is that right? I mean, what is it about the insurance industry that you enjoy and which makes you get up every morning and go into work?
I think it's the purpose of the industry. I think the ability of the industry to promote enterprise by telling people that you really don't need to be that scared. We have your back. You can take risks, because risk and discomfort is how innovation can progress in any society. That role really drives me, the social purpose of insurance, and its purpose to make things better, make people more cognizant of their actions in terms of driving a whole sets of desirable behaviors. So I think that is what drives me. And I think the industry has many clever, kind and innovative people. We just need our collective effort to be more forceful. And we need to stop thinking that someone else will fix it for us, say government regulation or technologists from Google and Apple. We've got to do it for ourselves. And that's what really inspires me every day to work for better and more innovative insurance.
Yes, I always feel that there's a relationship between, all those last few points really, which is if we were better at explaining to people what our social and commercial purpose was, and if people really knew how dependent they were on insurance and how much good it brings, we would, I think, sort out some of our gender issues and some of our diversity issues, some of the issues that you try and attend to with your mentoring, in the sense we would get a broader cross-section of people into the industry, which is still something which, we struggle to do. I find all this inspiring in the sense that you do a huge job, you mentor, you sit on lots of panels around gender diversity. I call someone like you an activity junkie. You always have to be doing something. Do you ever just sort of, kick your shoes off and watch some rubbish TV and relax?
Oh, all the time. My son, who is 8 years old, "Mommy, you're not watching the Bride Show again." I do like having lots of things to do. I run every week 50 to 60 kilometers. I have a brown belt in karate. I swim. And I do it because I'm able to. I do think I'm privileged that I have the time to do all these things. There's lots of people who are forced by their circumstance not to be able to do many of these things. So I'm lucky I try to use my time in pursuits other than just my job and running the daily grind.
So how do you juggle all these things? You have a big job, you have these public roles, speaking on panels, you mentor, you're very active on social media, you watch TV with your kids, busy family life, no doubt. How do you get all that into one day?
It's a lot of teamwork. A lot of people are there who are working in my family, in my work at Tech Nation, at Mayor's office, so that we can maximize the way that I can make impact in each of the areas that I'm operating. And so in my family, there's my husband who helps me. At work, there are my colleagues, and it's never, I don't think it's ever the individual on their own who can achieve all of what they set out for if they don't have all the help. So community, Robin, is helping me do all the things that I'm able to do.
Well, I think community is a very natural way of bringing us back to instech.London, which is a community. One last message to give to the instech.London community. Parul, if you wanted to say one thing in signing off, what would you say?
I would say that you're doing an excellent job of bringing technology to insurance, making it accessible, explaining a lot of how new technologies can be worked into our value chain. So you have the domain expertise of insurance and you are translating technology for us. So that's an excellent job. And you're doing for the right industry, which has a big, big impact on our society. So well done.
That's very kind of you. Look, I found this very inspiring in the interest of reciprocity. I love your passion, for what you do and your belief that we all have to take some individual responsibility for making the world a better place. So look, thank you very much for joining us this afternoon. I've really enjoyed talking to you, and I hope you'll continue to be an active and an important member of our community.
Thank you, Robin. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure. See you soon.
Another fascinating discussion. Now, if you are new to instech.London or haven't caught up with some of our recent events, we've got some great recordings from last year. Most recently, our predictions event for 2021, which brought together 20 of the industry's leaders to share their views. That's on episode 117. You can also see the write-up at my page on LinkedIn. And as always, please do tell us, or better still, tell someone else or leave a review if you like what you're hearing. You can also contact myself or Robin Merttens via LinkedIn or hello@instech.London.